Hello everyone, welcome back to SAYAM DRAWS RADIO. So glad you could join me today. As always, we're just going to be drawing together, so feel free to draw along or just sit back and enjoy the stream. Let's get right into it. Yesterday we were working on Watami's dress here for a new segment in the dance, and I've just been working on a bit of adjustment for it, hoping that it's gonna work out, but we're gonna have to see how it goes. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna draw this. I've been having a bit of difficulty with it, but that's it's all part of the learning process, so it's part of the fun of it. Trying to do more of a bell shape, and I'm hoping that this is gonna help it look a bit more like it's being flipped backwards. And judging by the looks of it, comparing it with the other dress, I do think it does give off a little bit of that sort of impression right there, so we're gonna try to work with this bell shape here. I really should just use my mouse to zoom in and out instead of my fingers. Excuse me, I'm just not used to it, so. Anyways, let's go back here. Let's bring up our timeline, and we're going to see where we were last time. Right, so our light comes back there. And just look at my reference real quick. Excuse me. Okay. Let's do the arms here. I think animating like this with all the body parts, being separate and all that, has really helped me to gain a better understanding of how to animate, because before, when I was animating, I was doing it very conventional with a single drawing every frame. But what that didn't help me with was it didn't allow me the freedom to experiment. But doing it this way, with each frame having the freedom to adjust any part, very simply, without much work, that's really helped me to sort of gain a better understanding of how to set up the character model, how to do things, pose the character so that it makes the most, it gives the most powerful pose and stuff. If I was just drawing it for each frame, I would first of all have to finish the drawing and then find out that it's, not very good, it's not quite what I'm looking for, and then I would just end up have to draw the whole thing again, which that's no fun. It was very time consuming. So this method has been very, very helpful for me, I feel. And anyways, I feel good because I don't know, I have this weird thing where I'm like, I really like to just do things my way. And this being a sort of unconventional way of animating just makes me feel kind of good, you know. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's duplicate this. And if I'm being completely honest, I've had been quite sort of hold on, let me just check on a reference real quick. Okay, so the leg here is pretty important. Anyways, what was I saying? Sorry, one more time, I'm just checking my reference here. So this kind of animation style I discovered through what's his name? Yuri Norstein. He's a Russian animator. I've spoken about him before, but I would talk about him all day because, man, he's just, in my opinion, he is a genius of animation. And you wouldn't think so at first glance. I certainly didn't think so in the beginning. But his animation really is just kind of art, you know, it's just art. And he uses this method of having pieces of the character, and he would just move them around and animate them like this, right? For me, I have very... Well, to be honest, I actually have more parts than his characters, because his characters are usually animals like rabbits and hedgehogs. Hedgehog in the Fog, by the way, is best. I love that animation, so excuse me. I love that animation, and if you're interested, go check it out. But yeah, it's just kind of these cartoon animals, so all they have is kind of the head, their body, and their limbs, right? So that's what, 1, 2, 6 parts, right? Here I have a whole bunch of moving parts and stuff. Hands, lower limbs, upper limbs, feet, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm not saying I'm better than him, I'm just saying that he normally doesn't do these sort of more articulate characters. He is doing more simplified, more cartoonish works. But all of that is just really complemented by his backgrounds and everything, because the background moves, the character moves, it's it's just beautiful stuff, you know. And so he does it like that, you know, moving his characters little by little. But his animation really shines in the characters' portrayal of their, just the portrayal of their character, you know, with just a few limbs like that, you know, a few moving parts. He is able to bring life to these characters like nothing I've ever seen before in animation. I promise you, you watch it and just because it's so unconventional, you will be a little bit thrown off by it. You'll be like, eh, what is this? This is pretty bad animation. Like, it looks so ancient, so barbaric, you know. But if you just watch it a bit, and if you have a sort of a kind of taste for that kind of artsy fartsy, ancient, barbaric kind of animation, you're gonna find that the way he brings his characters to life through the movement of all those parts and all that is just incredible, like beyond anything I've ever seen. Partially for me, the reason why I like it so much is because I'm a very big fan of movies. I love characters, I love acting. I don't act, but I love good acting, and I love when an actor is just able to portray a character so vividly, so beautifully. I love that stuff. So I guess I kind of look for that in animation as well, because, you know, for me, animation is also acting. You know, Disney animators always talk about how, you know, you're not just an animator, you're an actor as well. And so, yeah, I look for acting in animation, and Yuri Norstein, 100%. It's one of my favorites. Anyways, I've been talking so much. Let me get back to animating here. I'm not quite sure how to portray the movement here for this leg. I'm going to do a bit of experimenting. One of my favorite movies. Well, first I'll bring up one of my favorite actors, Tom Hardy. I loved him in Legend, where he plays a character, but he also plays the twin of his character, and they have such opposing personalities. He plays both of them, and you know, they do a whole bunch of cinematography stuff to have him appear in one scene together, you know, him and his twin, and that's very cool. But you know, the movie really shines in his acting, because even though it's literally the same person, and you know it's the same person, you will just absolutely not believe that it's not the same person. Like, his acting is so well done that, you know, even though it's him in the scene, you know, two of him in the scene, you will never think to yourself, oh, that's Tom Hardy and that's Tom Hardy. No, you will be like, oh, that's that character and that's the exact other character. So Legend is great, but I think, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, the best acting he has ever done is a movie called Locke, Locke. And yeah, that movie just blows me away, man. Let me just explain about that movie first. Let me provide a context for it. This movie, Locke, starring Tom Hardy, he's some construction worker, or more specifically, he's the manager of the construction of like a skyscraper or whatever, and he's got a big job the next day. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be it's going to be the most important part of the process, because sorry, hold on, I'm just really doing two things at the same time here, trying to animate and talk at the same time. Yeah, so he is some manager of the construction site of a skyscraper, and the next day is going to be the most important because they're setting up the foundation, right? And obviously if the foundation's not set right, then the whole building is going to collapse. So it's a really critical, important part of the construction process, and that's happening the next day. But what happens is he receives news that a woman he had an affair with is pregnant. And it's the nighttime, it's evening time, and he has a choice to make, whether to go home and just keep up with the facade and just go home to his wife and his kids, and then go next day, do his job, ignore the problem that has come up and, just keep living life, or go and take responsibility for the problem that he has created, and to suffer the consequences of that, of having to explain to his wife why he's not coming home, what has happened, and explaining to his boss, why he won't be able to be there for the most critical part of the construction process the next day. And this is not a spoiler because it's not a spoiler because it's basically the whole story. He chooses to face the problem, right? And so obviously this is a big thing. This is a very big thing. This problem has just suddenly come up, that everything's kind of perfect in his life. He's got a good family. His job is going well. He's going to do a really good job the next day, and he's going to get a lot of money, get a lot more respect, and stuff like that by doing his job. But this one little problem comes up, and it could easily just be something ignored. It could easily be pushed aside, but he has this sort of moral obligation, to face that problem that he has made, right? And it's a very tough situation. But that's basically the context of the movie, right? Now, what makes this movie so special is not that story itself. Obviously, there's a great deal of drama in that, and it's quite interesting. You know, you might wonder how it's going to play out, but the highlight of this movie is that it all takes place in one car ride, and there's no other character you physically see except Tom Hardy in the car driving towards the problem. Every interaction he has, every dialogue happens over the phone with his wife, with his boss, with his kids. It all happens over the phone. And already to some that might be like a red flag, like, oh man, that's going to be a boring movie, you know. Where's the action? You know, where's the heart-tugging drama of, you know, his relationship with his wife? You know, where's the sad, sort of pitiful experience of being, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, I guess debased by his boss, you know. Where's all that, right? You don't see none of that. You don't see it. But you see it in his acting. You see it in Tom Hardy's acting in the car while he's on the phone. And it's just, oof, like one of my favorite movies of all time. If you like that kind of stuff, you like those kinds of movies that are not just about action, it's not just a Hollywood sort of thriller thing, but you like those kinds of really, really character building movies, this might be for you. Locke, L-O-C-K-E. Looks like I'm not going to get a lot of animation done today, but that's okay. I'm having kind of fun talking about this kinds of stuff. You know, letting you guys know the kinds of stuff that I'm into. And this is partially why I like dance so much, because it's dance, you know, you're expressing yourself through the movement, right? And dance has a lot of very dynamic poses, and those all kind of reveal character. So that's also a reason why I really like dancing. I don't dance. I don't dance. I'm just saying that I like dance because of that. Anyways, let's try to get this leg done before I go today. It's kind of difficult, but we'll try to figure it out. Movie Nope was really good as well. Nope. Director Jordan Peele. I personally enjoyed like all his movies. But Nope, I feel, was the best one that I've seen of his work. I loved the monster in Nope. You know, he's always had very interesting monsters, very interesting, you know, yeah, monsters, that's what I'm looking for in his movies. But this one is really my kind of monster. Okay, so here, let's change actually the clothes. And now we're going to bring in our dress that we've drawn. Dress 3, I believe it is. Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be a bit tricky. Yeah, that dress doesn't quite do the effect that I'm looking for here. Might have to change it, or might just keep it and move on. Yeah. What other movies are there with great acting that I really enjoy? Another favorite movie of mine, that would be The King's Speech. Funny way I came to know about it I learned about it through a college humor sketch. It was one of their like it was one of their pixelated animations, and it was basically a parody of The King's Speech, where Bowser has a speech deficiency, and basically one of the turtle things helps him to get over it and confront Mario, basically. And it was funny. I didn't really get it because I had never seen The King's Speech before, but it was still, it was funny. And that's actually how I learned about it, because I was like, oh, what is funny? Like, what are they parodying here, right? And I learned that it was The King's Speech, and it turned out to be a really good movie. In fact, one of the best movies. Again, it's one of my favorites of all time. I will often quote the throne room speech. Okay, I quite like that. Quite like that dynamic there. Yeah, The King's Speech just got a great acting. My goodness, I don't know who the main actor is. I don't know his name. Even the other main actor, I don't know his name. All I know is that he's the pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know which pirate. I don't know what the pirate is called, like Blackbeard or something. I don't know. But he owns like the Black Pearl ship or whatever. Anyways, he's the other actor. But the acting is impeccable. But in my opinion, where this movie shines is in its character development. You know, the relationship between these two guys, the two main actors, it grows. It starts off, you know, not very great. It's a bit tense, but it starts to grow, and then they also go through a bit of hiccups in their relationship, but they learn to get over it. And in the end is just the culmination, the fruit of what that relationship is. You know, the kind of what good comes out of that relationship. You know, this relationship that is so deep and so interesting also, because it's not a conventional relationship. You know, it's kind of a interesting dynamic. The dynamic is the main actor, he's a king, and the other guy, he's just some unknown pleb, right? He's just some unknown dude who helps with speech deficiencies. I don't even know if that's the right word, but you know, so it's an unlikely relationship, but it grows into a deep relationship, and in the end you see the result of that relationship, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. The character development is just wow, like one of my favorite movies. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to me ramble today. Not much animation, but you know, I want to thank you for joining me on today's stream. I hope to see you guys again soon, and until then, I hope you have a great day or a good night, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.